Hello everyone and welcome to the first video in the Intro to Stone series. I'm just going to give you a little glimpse at my home altar, just to look at some of the stones that I have on here. There's a large Kuan Yin, and then I've also moved one of my altars upstairs into my bedroom because Vincent's starting to move around quite a bit. So that altar is over here. You can see the stones on there. So what I really want to focus on in this video are the tools that you're going to need for the series, or that you might like to have with you as you start to go through the stones in this series. So I'll be right back with those tools, and we can talk about what you're going to want to have on hand as we start working together. Okay, so let's talk about the tools that you're going to want to have as you start working with stones on your own. You're going to want to have one stone that you choose to do this series with to start off. I really recommend that you do the whole series with one stone, really getting comfortable and getting to know that stone, and then taking the series and the information that you've gleaned from it and what works for you and what you want to continue to use, and apply that to working with a majority of other stones. So you want to choose one stone in particular, either one that you've just purchased or just found and that feels right to you, or that for whatever reason you just know that that's a stone that you really want to get to know better. So I'm just going to give you an example. This is a stone that my husband just found for me. So I would be using this stone for the whole series and really getting to know and work with this stone intimately. So it does not need to be a crystal or a gemstone. It can be any stone that you find. In fact, I really encourage that you use stones that you find out in nature, or that come to you, or that someone brings to you. Again, it doesn't have to be gifted though. It can be a stone that you found or purchased yourself. It doesn't have to be a precious stone or a semi-precious stone or a crystal in order for you to work with it in this series. However, if that's what you choose to work with, then more power to you. So this would be an example of a stone right there. Another example, if you wanted to work with a crystal or jasper, this is Brie-seeded jasper, and it is polished. So you want to find the stone that calls to you and that you feel most drawn to work with. If you really take a look around my house, you'll see that I have jasper, especially Brie-seeded jasper, fancy jasper, rainforest jasper, pretty much all kinds of jasper. Vincent's saying hello. All over the house because I'm really drawn to work with jasper. So use a stone that you're really wanting to get to know better and that you feel really drawn to working with. So you want to have your stone. I also would really... I know, darling. Yeah. I also would really, really love for you to either dedicate a journal itself to working with the stone in this series, or to just work with the stone along with a journal that you already have going. Like for me, because I'll be doing this with you all, I'll be just using my regular Book of Shadows, Book of Mirrors type journal, and just adding on at the end of the day the different things that I do with my stone, and keeping track of it that way. So it doesn't have to be a separate journal, but it can be if you want to. If you're looking for some journal guidance, really go and check out Gypsy Chick's channel. She is like the queen of journaling. I thought that I was like an obsessed journaler until I really got into watching her videos, which are incredible, and I really recommend them. She is really, really methodical with her journaling, and so if you're looking for like, how do I organize, that type of thing, this experience that I want to keep in written form, really check out her videos. Those will give you a lot of help. But definitely start a journal as you start this series. It can be a separate one, or it can be one that you're already working with, but please devote some time to write in this journal daily about your experiences with the stones. Vincent loves stones too, as you can tell. And the different exercises that we're going to be doing with the stones. Please check out Hibiscus Moon's channel if you are looking for specific meanings and great scientific information on different semi-precious stones and crystals and the like. Her videos are really insightful about that. This series isn't going to be focusing on that. This series is going to be focusing on getting to know your stones on a personal level and interpreting and intuiting them by yourself. So, and not so much a scientific approach, more of the metaphysical approach. This is not necessary for the series. However, I know that some of you are going to be asking me about this. Is there any recommended reading? If you're looking for, and this is not required reading for the series, this is just recommended reading, but if you're looking for a book that to give you some insight into crystals, I really love Corinne Kenner's Crystals for Beginners. This is a great book. It's not going to cover found stones that you aren't sure what species they are, but it is going to cover jasper, if you have jasper, clear quartz, rose quartz. It's going to give you some info into that will be very helpful. So this is a good book if you're interested in having a book. Some tools that I really am going to recommend that you work with as you go through this series, I know, are either sage or Palo Santo, which is holy wood. And this isn't really for your stones. This is really for you as you're working through this process with the stones. I'm going to get into theory in the next video, but I really, really feel from the bottom of my soul that stones are very, very old, ancient beings. And they are other life forms that have come in to assist us on this plane. And so, do they really need to be cleared? I don't really think that they need to be cleared. I think sometimes we like to clear them when we need to kind of have a change in space and that kind of thing. And that can be very helpful. I also think that sometimes they like to have a little vacation, and I often like to give them a vacation on the full moon, which for some people would be clearing. But sage and Palo Santo will be very helpful. If you are looking for something to help you cleanse your stone, selenite is a great option for that. And I've got some over there, but I'll show you some selenite in the next video if you're feeling like you want to have something to cleanse and clear your stones. Again, I don't really feel like this is necessary. These are very old beings that we're working with, and they're certainly capable of cleansing themselves. But if you're using it as a tool, you may find that you wish to do that. So, feel free to go ahead and use selenite and Palo Santo and sage to clear and cleanse your stones. The other thing I'd recommend is that you have a candle of some sort. As you all know, I am going to recommend beeswax, but you can go ahead and use whatever you feel drawn to work with for the type of wax for the candle, but I really recommend having a candle. So again, really what you need to have is first and foremost a stone, and a stone that you want to continue to work with through the series. A journal, whether that's an existing journal or a journal that you want to create specifically for the stonework. And cleansing materials, should you choose to use cleansing materials for your stones. And really, you want to just be able to set some time aside. You're going to need to set some time aside, preferably each evening or morning, but daily, to meditate and work with your stone. And in the end of this series, you really are going to be able to use your stone as a divination tool on its own. So if you are not drawn to working with cards, you might find that divination through stonework is something that you actually prefer. So those are the tools that you're going to want to have for the stone series. The next video I'm going to go into a little bit about theory and talk about some of the beginning stages of working with our stone, especially if you haven't found that stone yet. We'll talk about that a little bit too. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video in our Intro to Stone series. And until that time, happy work with your stone.